Good evening and welcome to the Chamber's annual meeting and awards dinner. I'm Robin Mann of Mann Custom Boats, and I'm proud to have served the last 2 years as your board chair. We are here this evening not only to recognize important accomplishments of your chamber over the past year, but we also have the privilege to honor Ralph Buxton, our 2012 Outer Banks Citizen of the Year. For so many years, Ralph has been a special part of our chamber and this community. In 1983, he was on the search committee that hired John Bone to manage our chamber. We thought it was a natural fit, since he was the current Tourist Bureau liaison to our board, for him to serve as chair of the 2012 Chamber President Search Committee. As always, he did an impeccable job, and we can't thank him enough. We extend our special welcome tonight to Ralph and his wife Donna. And he has with him tonight his 3 children, and that is Charles, okay, Elizabeth, Samuel, and also Ralph's mother is with him this evening. Now I would like to introduce Kenny Marshall with PNC Bank, who will assist in presenting this year's Outer Banks Citizen of the Year Award, and to share with us their commitment and involvement with this prestigious award. Kenny?
Thank you very much. On behalf of PNC Bank, I want to say thank you to the Chamber for letting us once again participate in this celebration of outstanding citizenship. As I look around the room tonight, I see a lot of community leaders, a lot of business owners, a lot of volunteers, a lot of givers, a couple politicians. That's the only joke I have. So, but all of which care for and care about the community that we live in. And this evening we've gathered to honor one citizen who exemplifies all of the traits of a true community leader. And I'm sure we can all agree that Mr. Ralph Buxton is not only a man who made us look at Jockey's Ridge a little bit differently, but through his work and dedication to our community, he has touched and changed so many lives of citizens that we live with in our community. PNC gratefully acknowledges Mr. Buxton tonight and all of his work and contributions to this community. Again, many thanks to the Chamber for allowing PNC to once again sponsor this event. I think you said since 1993. That was a little before my time here on the beach, so we are very, very proud to be a part of this community and very proud to be amongst the citizens of this community here on the Outer Banks. So on behalf of PNC Bank, thank you all very much. Mr. Buxton, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kenny, very much. That was wonderful. On behalf of the Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce, it gives me great pleasure to award Ralph Buxton as the Outer Banks Citizen of the Year. Let me share a few things about Ralph before he comes forward. I'm not going to be the bad one here, but I have some people that are coming out to be bad. Ralph was born in Germany. His first experience to our area was in 1972 on a weekend visit, and the sight of Jockey's Ridge caused him to pull over on the side of the road and climb to the top. I think we've all done that. But Ralph came back a year later. He returned and he started a new sport of hang gliding on Jockey's Ridge. In 1977, Ralph moved to the Outer Banks and immersed himself in a fledgling Kitty Hawk Kites business. He has always given back to the community. He has served a total of 10 years on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, including a term as chair in 1981. He has served as president of the Manio Rotary Club, the Outer Banks Community Foundation president, founding chairman of the YMCA, He has served on many committees, including the Transportation Task Force, the Nags Head Recreation Committee, and so many others that we would be very late here tonight if I stood here and named them all. And right now, he is currently serving on the Seafood Festival Committee. He was actually one of those who kept saying, we need to get this started, we need to get this started. And he is current chairman of the Tourism Board. Before I ask you to come up to the podium, Ralph, I would like to introduce tonight some speakers on your behalf. Chris Payne will be our first.
I'm old enough now that I love a saying that my wife has posted on the board, and it may appeal to some of the others that are in the audience that I'm looking at. You love those most who you love first. And I've been around long enough to have loved a lot of people. Tonight we're here to honor Ralph Buxton. And when I think about Ralph, I think about two other people. One of them is John Harris, and the other one is Dana Lawrence. Back in the early part of my career as a banker, right out of Vietnam, with very little training, I was made the manager of the Nags Head office. And I find out really that that's where the action is. Or that's where it was. I don't know where it is now, to be honest with you. Again, I may be talking to an older crowd, but I hope you younger ones will tolerate me. The three people that I have in mind are Ralph Buxton and John Harris and Dana Lawrence, because they were my first adventures in lending. And Ralph and John came up with this idea of flying kites off of a Park Service piece of land called Jockey Ridge that they were going to lease from the Park Service, the National Park Service. And their pro formas were good, and their presentation was good, and their forward thinking was good. Those are all characteristics of good business people. And I actually had been to school to learn to read a financial statement. So I kind of looked at what they had, and I thought it was a good idea, a real good idea. Back in those days, you'll remember, there was nothing in between the highways except old oaks that were bent down from the wind that looked like that. And there were no cottages or businesses or anything like that, but they were all on the beach road. And the next person that came up was Dana, and Dana's idea was to open up a store called a brew-through where you could drive a car through it to buy beer. So as most good banks, Kenny, we had an underwriter. I don't know if he's still there or not. Is Ben Anderson still around? Anyway, Ben gave me a call and he said, Chris, let me ask you a question. What are you thinking? He said, I'm looking at two loan requests here. One of them is flying kites off of a sand dune, and the other one is buying beer through a car driving to a store. I go, well, you know the honest truth about it all is there's nothing down here to do but fly a kite and drink beer. Somehow or the other. You know, somehow or the other that worked out. I think it's two of the most fun things to do still on the beach. I want to talk about a few characteristics of people that I think are usually honored at events like this. Forward thinking, I'd have to say, Ralph and John, that was pretty forward thinking. And if Dana, if you're here, I'd have to say you were among those. I think too that there's a few other characteristics that meet the mind when you're thinking about Ralph. I do remember at that time in 1977 or whenever it was, that it was a very raw and cold winter. And I noticed in particular that it was John Harris that was down here making all the loan requests, and Ralph, for some reason, had to stay back in Washington, D.C. until the summertime. So I think probably one of the traits that our Citizen of the Year had possessed even then was a real concept of planning. I mean, John did all the work, and then in the summertime, Ralph came down here and he flew kites, and hang gliding. He invited all the bankers to go with him and all that kind of stuff. All kidding aside, here's some of the other characteristics that I think of when I think of Ralph, like diplomacy, willingness to tackle or help tackle the most challenging tasks, like during his lifetime helping to draw the Tourist Bureau and the Chamber closer together as working partners, volunteering to help any organization better itself, like marrying Donna Buxton, like listening to her as they raised children, a fine family that loved and appreciated this place as much as he did, like helping to form a men's prayer group that has met for the past 15 years or more, whose purpose is to help us become better husbands and better fathers and servants to those organizations in need. These are just some examples of Ralph's forward-thinking skills that have helped our beach to grow. Ralph respects other people's ideas. If any problems arose in our community or arise in our community, Ralph would and will carefully seek and listen to advice, and then with the input of others, he will often come up with a solution. Ralph, because of your wonderful qualities and commitment to the Outer Banks tonight, I salute you as the Dare Citizen of the Year.
I want to thank the Chamber for all that you do, the board members for all that you do. Day in and day out, the Chamber came to our aid numerous times in our history. One of those I'll mention tonight. But thank you for the work that you do every day. Much appreciated by the community. First I want to congratulate Ralph, and then I want to get on to the rest of the story. I'm going to show you a few old pictures. I couldn't find the really good ones. I was so disappointed. Anyway, we'll have a few good laughs. So I was fortunate enough to meet Ralph in 1966, actually in Sunnyvale, California. And we were both co-oping for Lockheed Missiles and Space in Sunnyvale, California. So we'd go to school for a semester, and then we'd work for Lockheed for a semester. It was a great program, great way to work your way through school. We had great experience when we got out, and had a terrific time. Ralph was studying mechanical engineering at Bradley University, and my friend Dale and I, who were working with Ralph, were studying engineering at the University of Missouri. And this is Ralph's Ford Edsel. When Dale and I arrived in California in 1966, we had no transportation. So we went out and bought a Vespa scooter. And then at work, we met Ralph. Ralph had a Ford Edsel. So he immediately became our best friend. We had great trips, great road trips in that car. We explored the entire West Coast. It broke down often. I think on this trip, this was the third flat tire, if I remember correctly. That's why Ralph was holding up the 3. But that didn't stop Ralph. He persevered. So we had great fun. We eventually advanced from the motor scooter to a Honda motorcycle. So this was the local Sunnyvale chapter of the Hells Angels there. That's Dale in the rear, myself in the middle, and Ralph in the front there. Now this next picture, this is when Ralph proclaimed in 1967 that I'm going to be Citizen of the Year. Or it may have been, let's go get a beer. And so he traded in his Ford Edsel on his Pontiac, and we had great road trips in the Pontiac also. Great times. So in the summer of 1968, we were working, or in the spring we were working in Sunnyvale, California, and the summer we were supposed to go back to Midwest summer school. And the Midwest is hot and humid in the summertime. So Ralph came up with the brilliant idea of, well, why don't we transfer to University of Hawaii for the summer? Sounded good to me, so we made plans to go to Hawaii, got into summer school, took some courses, learned to surf at Waikiki, hung out at Waikiki a lot, and explored Hawaii and had a great summer. Didn't do too well. I didn't do too well in my classes, but we had a great time. And then we came back to Sunnyvale, and this is Santa Cruz. So Santa Cruz is just down from Sunnyvale. So this is Ralph heading out into the surf at Santa Cruz. So that was fun. Oh, in Hawaii, let me go back. We couldn't find a place to live in Hawaii. It was like coming here in the middle of the summer and trying to find a place to live, a place to live, you know, what a student could afford. So we couldn't find a place. We searched. Finally found a garage that had these huge flying beetles and one bed. So yes, it's true. I slept with Ralph Buxton for the summer.
That's all. That's all. Too much information. All it is.
We have that recorded.
All right. We eventually graduated. It was the Vietnam War, as Chris mentioned. Ralph got drafted, and I got a high lottery number and took a job in Winston-Salem. So that's how I got to North Carolina. While Ralph was in the Army, he was doing engineering work, as I recall. And when he got out of the Army, he went to work for Westinghouse as an ocean or marine engineer in the DC area. And they had an oceanographic division that he worked for there. One day I saw a picture of a hang glider in the Winston-Salem Journal, called Ralph about it. I wound up ordering the glider and met him at Jockey's Ridge in 1973. And we ran up and down the sand dunes until we figured out how to fly it. So it was so much fun. We had so much fun. We'd always talked about starting some sort of engineering business. But hang gliding was a lot more fun. So we decided to start digging into it. I started looking for a location, was fortunate enough to meet Stan White, who mentioned that I should look at the garage of the old casino. And I did that. It worked out, and thanks to Stan, we were able to open a business the following year in the spring of 1974. We were there, and this is the garage of the old casino. This is after we had fixed it up. It was a board and clapboard building. Sand blew through the cracks. We couldn't keep a phone recorder going because the sand blew through the cracks all day and jammed the recorder up. So we had a really hard time taking messages when we were out on the hill teaching. This is the spacious interior, about 300 square feet of retail we had at that time. That's Donna Haddon with Ralph in the back there. Oh, and we also, our bathroom was an outhouse. This is Ralph in his early modeling career. Modeling some of Donna Haddon's shirts, or airbrush shirts. And so we worked hard for 5 years, begging Chris Payne every year for money. And finally, after 5 years, I don't know when it was along there that he finally made us a loan. But Pardon?
Couldn't be any innocent with that.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. But this was an exciting day. This was in 79, or it may have been late 78. We opened the building in 79. So this is groundbreaking for the Kitty Hawk Kites building. And that's Donna Hedden on the left, J. Fred Kelly, who some of you may remember, Don Bryan, Francis Regallo, Tony McGowan, Ralph, Jay Mankadick, Artie Rawls from Wimco, and Marie Lifsey. Oh, it was a great day. Ralph did all the planning for the building and found the financing and oversaw the construction. So it's terrific. He did a terrific job. This is shortly after we opened the building. You can see, hard to believe, huh? Yeah. And let's see, I think the next slide is the ribbon cutting. And there's Ralph and Mayor Don Bryan at the ribbon cutting. And it was shortly before that ribbon cutting, right? We were about a month before, something like that. We were looking out, and we were inside working on the building, finishing it up, working on the interior, and we looked out the window, and we saw a state park official that we hadn't seen before across the road, driving this sign into the ground that said "No hang gliding." So, talk about your stomach doing flip-flops. That was the day, and I want to thank the community and the chamber again for all the support that you gave us through those times and helping reverse that decision. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. Okay, and this is a legislative breakfast we did years ago. We did a number of them. And Ralph on the left, Bud Cannon, and Wheelbarrow Wright. And who's that young man beside Wheelbarrow Wright? Yeah, and Tanya Young. And this is a cleanup we did at Jockey's Ridge. Is Glenn, you're here tonight? Nope. That's Glenn, you're in the center. And you can see Ralph's clowning around there with the trash bag. Yeah. And then next slide. And this is Ralph explaining to Donna Buxton what he was doing with the trash bag. All right. This is Ralph sailing around in the casino parking lot. During the early 80s, the recession of the early 80s, the casino property became available, and we knew that we had to somehow act on it or we wouldn't get another opportunity. The timing was terrible. Ralph put together a plan. We went back to the bank, and we made a really good deal. At 20% interest, they loaned us the money. Somehow we got through those times. But that was great. And then we worked through the 80s. At the old casino, the old Quizo building, became the home of Kitty Hawk Sports, and Ralph built Kitty Hawk Sports and kayaking and windsurfing and skimboarding there through the 80s and 90s. And again, after many years of hard work, we were able to borrow more money from Chris Payne and develop the connection, or what's known as Jockey's Ridge Crossing now. This is the grand opening of that. And Ralph again planned the building and oversaw the construction. And this was another proud day for us. And it was complete with the playport. And on the left is Jonathan Harris and Deetra. And Charlie is on the right. Charlie Buxton is on the right. You can see them right here this evening. And I don't know who's hanging upside down. I couldn't recognize them.
That's Will. Will, that kid that
Will?
lived next door.
Yeah, that's right.
Kid that lived
Okay.
next door.
Anyway, a lot of fun with the playport. This is Ralph and Donna with the Regalos, who are great friends to us through the years. And next slide. And this is Ralph with Jim Drake, who invented the windsurfer. Took him out on Jockey's Ridge. And this is a terrible picture. I couldn't find a better picture, but this is an event that Ralph did at Windmill Point. He's been associated with Windmill Point for many, many, many years. And excuse me, this was a windsurfing race that he did, and that's the Watermelon Queen. North Carolina Watermelon Queen. Okay, next slide. This is I think a photo shoot or modeling that the Kitty Hawk Sports crew did, and you might recognize Keith and Kathy Wood. Ralph is on the right, on the far right. It's not a very good picture, but Keith and Kathy Wood and Dan Banks and Nancy Fagel. They were modeling for a sportswear company. And this is one of our infamous hang gliding road trips to Virginia. You can see Ralph on the end, and you might recognize Tom Haddon, who is in the red shirt, who's here tonight. Yeah, those were the good old days. And Ralph, congratulations on being the Citizen of the Year, well deserved. And thank you for all the great road trips that we've had together. And I'm wishing you and Donna many more.
And now I would like to welcome John Bone, who has some words to say on Ralph's behalf.
Let me just tell you, three's not a charm. I'm not the charm here tonight. Everything has been said pretty much, but just for your ambassadors in the room, he's back for a short period of time anyway, just a few minutes. But before I start, welcome Karen to the Outer Banks, our new president and CEO of the Chamber. Thank you. It was a great relief to me when they hired Karen. Secondly, I want to say to Robin, thank you for inviting me here tonight and giving me this opportunity to speak. It's a pleasure to come back and be a part of the Chamber and not have to worry about whether the food is going to be okay or people are going to show up or things are going to get done. And of course, I never really had to worry about that anyway because we had such a great staff. I thank them for all they did for me for the last 29 years. This also gives me an opportunity to get back at my great friend, Ralph Buxton. I've known Ralph for 34 years. The first time I met Ralph was when he was starting his business. He and John were starting the business down here, and I was county commissioner. And it was constant. Over the next 34 years, Ralph told me what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and sometimes who to do it to. How many of you have had Ralph call you and say, listen, I need just a minute of your time. And 3 hours later said, Ralph, I've got to go. I saw one hand back there anymore. All the good things have been said about Ralph, all the funny things. I'm going to tell you some serious stuff. You know, they started this business of hang gliding down here on the Outer Banks. And I remember we had about, I think the population here at the time was about 9,000 people. Wouldn't that be right? In that neighborhood, permanent population. And they started this hang gliding business. And people would say to me as a county commissioner, what are they doing over there? They're actually tying kites to people's backs and throwing them off the Jockey's Ridge. I said, I really don't know. Most people would say, I think they're front for the mob. You saw those pictures, it's believable, right? But Ralph has always been kind to me. In 1982, the Chamber was looking for a new exec. I applied, and Chris Payne, who's here tonight, and they blame it on each other. I'm not sure which is the one at fault, but they said they didn't want to hire me. I was a teacher. What do teachers know? You know what I mean? A former politician. What does a politician know? And Ralph says, John, we're really, and Ralph and I were good friends. Friends like that. I mean, come on. And he said, we're going to hire these other 3 people. So they approached 3 other people. 2 of them didn't show up. And one of them told them flat out, I don't want the job. So they were left with me, and it was a great 29 and a half years. And John is right. The Chamber, county commissioners, all fought very hard to keep Jockey's Ridge open to the public and hang gliding. And we really owe a debt of gratitude to those 2 men for what they've done. So I appreciate all you did. However, Ralph talked me into, excuse me, this thing is not just right. But anyway, Ralph talked me into taking a hang gliding lesson. Y'all listen to this pattern. There's a pattern here. I'm not sure what it is. Remember the job? Okay, we'll go back. Go back to the job. Ralph taught me into taking a hang gliding lesson. So I went out. What did I know? I was a young guy at the time. And the young flight instructor strapped me into this hang glider. We're at the top of the hill. Beautiful day. And then all of a sudden a gust of wind comes up. About 25 miles an hour, I think it was. I go off the ground. The hang glider instructor's eyes got as big as saucers. He grabs the tether and pulls me back down. He said, that's it for the day. That was my last hang gliding experience. My next opportunity with Ralph, John and Ralph were opening up a powered hang gliding in Manio Airport. Is that right, John?
That's right.
Ralph talks me into taking a ride on this power hang. How many of you have seen a power hang glider up close? It's a kite with a long bore engine on it. It'll go down the runway about 50 miles an hour and you pop up in the air and you fly around. And of course I was with an instructor. I wouldn't do this by myself. 2 weeks later, one of those things crashed at the airport. I got to thinking, what is Ralph? What is his problem with me? I don't understand. And then Ralph opens up the kayak business. How bad can this be? Ralph said, you need a kayak. Okay. Not only that, you need to take the tour over at Alligator Wildlife Refuge. There's a reason they call it the Alligator Wildlife Refuge. alligators over there. I'm in this little kayak, sitting in the water. I mean, alligators, cottonmouth moccasins, black bear and wolves. Y'all see a pattern here? I'm not paranoid, but really, after a while you begin to wonder. All right, we fast forward another 20 some years here, and Ralph comes back on the board. I should have known better. He gets to be chairman of the Tourist Bureau. He talks us into doing the seafood festival. And the next thing I know, I'm looking for a job. Wow. I'm your buddy. You've heard all the good things about Ralph. I won't go into those right now. I've talked about it now. They've been said. Ralph has been and John have been wonderful ambassadors for the Outer Banks. They've not only been great ambassadors, in that, doing that, they have brought, I literally believe you brought millions of people to this coast and this area. You probably created thousands of jobs, large payrolls. All the people who work for you tell me. But also, they generated lots and lots of tax dollars. Think about that. That's helped pay for our schools, our emergency medical, and all those wonderful things. Ralph has been, and I've said this to him, and I'll say it again tonight, Ralph is a pioneer on the Outer Banks, one of many. Outstanding pioneer, an entrepreneur that has left this place better than when he got here. Not that he's left yet. But he asked me to go hang gliding again. He may be leaving. Thank you, Ralph, for all you do, and love you, buddy.
Thank you, John. And now I'd like to ask Donna Buxton to come up and say a few words for us. Now we get the truth.
Thank you, Donna. This could be my chance, but I won't do it. Actually, what I do want to say is that our whole family is very happy to be here together tonight, and we really appreciate this wonderful recognition of Ralph by the Chamber. And it's really great. It really brings back so many memories, and I think it speaks to Ralph to have so many, we have so many longtime friends and his beloved employees that are here tonight. They're also, of course, our friends, so it really means a lot for all of you to be here tonight. And I have to say that Ralph has served the Outer Banks for more than 30 years, but his recent retirement has not slowed him down one bit. If anything, this last year may have set a record for time devoted to community affairs and meetings, since he didn't have that little thing like a business to run on the side. So, but we have managed to fit in one of our loves somewhat, which is travel. But even then, I have to give you one example of how he's always thinking of ways to build a better mousetrap. It's kind of that engineering mentality. We recently got back from a trip to Croatia, and as we always do on trips, Ralph is always observing every community we visit and how they treat the tourists. And while we were there, we took a kayak tour. And we found it quite different in the way things that were done at Kitty Hawk Sports when he ran the business. For instance, we had no information on the equipment, even though some of them on the tour had never been on a kayak before. Ralph was amazed there were no waivers to sign, no life jackets as we were heading off into this current going down into the Adriatic Sea. And our tour guide named Chief darted out in front of us with his girlfriend in a double kayak, and we were racing to keep up. But they did have one thing going for them. They did kind of take us aside halfway through the tour and plied us full of cheap wine and cheese, and I thought that was really a pretty good, that was a good idea. And so that did help to make up for any shortfall on the trip. And when we were in this area, we had trouble finding the tourist office in the town where we stayed, and you could be sure that Ralph would have been a valuable resource if this tourist office would have followed his suggestions. They needed a better location, they needed better signage, they needed better lighting. Jeff Fisher, you know about that, right? better lighting, right? And so we joked that if all else failed and the country went kaput, that we would go back to Croatia and we could start a kayak business there because we could do it better. And that I put a bet out there that if we did go, before it was all over, Ralph would probably end up as the chairman of the Rovinja Croatia Tourism Bureau. But sincerely, our family is very proud of Ralph, and we've seen our family here, the commitment that he's made to the community from the very beginning. And as a matter of fact, the year that our oldest son Charlie was born, who's now going on 31, he was chairman of the Chamber of Commerce. And I have to say, there were a few meetings I really wanted to hand him Charlie, say, take him to that meeting. But anyway, we survived that and many more meetings. But I do know that he has set a wonderful example for our children in the way he ran his business and in the way he gave back to the community. He's always been motivated by a true love for the Outer Banks, and he's used those leadership skills he has to work to advance every organization that he's ever worked for. And I have to say, even with everything Ralph has accomplished, that we know sitting at the table here, his biggest accomplishment and the biggest success has been as a husband, a son, a father, and son-in-law to my parents. And we thank him and we love him for that.
I do have a letter here that I would like to read that was submitted to us for Ralph, and this is from Mayor Sheila Davies. And it says, "Dear Ralph and guest, I regret I am unable to be with you tonight, this evening, and celebrate this momentous occasion. Ralph, congratulations on a well-deserved honor. You have contributed in countless ways to the Outer Banks, resulting in an enhanced quality of life for those living and visiting here. Ralph was one of the first people I met when I moved to the Outer Banks over 11 years ago. I moved to serve as the first director of the YMCA, and Ralph was one of the charter YMCA board members. Ralph and others helped to ensure the benefits of a community resource like the YMCA became firmly planted in the Outer Banks. Not only did Ralph help ensure the YMCA's inception, but he was also instrumental in helping the YMCA expand to add the first of its kind skate park to the area in 2003. Ralph, I admire and applaud your selflessness, your vision, and your passion for ensuring the Outer Banks remains the treasure that drew us all here. Your contributions to our community will forever endure. Congratulations again on the significant recognition and for all you do for our community. Very truly, Sheila Davies." Ralph, now I will let you come forward. I present to you, our chamber members, our Citizen of the Year, Ralph Buxton.
Thank you. Well, gee, I had this
3-hour speech here, but that's not going to happen. We've covered all this. I just, I'm awed and really appreciate very much the honor. It's this isn't why you do these things. You get into it because you enjoy it, and it's really very self-fulfilling. And so I've been rewarded many times over for putting in the time in, and to me it was never a toil. It sometimes can be challenging, but it's the reward, the appreciation is really comes from inside as much as anything. But thank you so much for the recognition, and thank you for recognizing my family, Team Buxton there, including my mom, who I'm very glad to have here with us. And I did maybe a couple things here I want to bring out. I'm not going to keep you because I know there is a presidential debate going on. This morning I was talking with John Bone a little bit at breakfast about history of the Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce, and he recounted. John is an old history teacher. In fact, I've been trying to get him to write a history of the Outer Banks Chamber and business community, but John never listens to me. He never thinks I have any decent ideas. He just blows me off. So he's Buxton. Forget that. But he reminded me that at one time after World War II, there were 3 chambers of commerce on the Outer Banks, and they were basically mailboxes. And there was one, I think, in Mania, right, John, and Nag's Head and Kitty Hawk, and and they were all in the mailboxes on the beach. But basically, if somebody wrote in, to the Chamber of Commerce and Nag's Head, then they had some place to stick the letter, and then I guess some entrepreneur would come along and empty the mailbox and respond to them and probably promote their business as well as the Outer Banks. But hey, it worked, and it was effective. Later on, then we got a Nag's Head Chamber of Commerce, and then eventually in the early 70s we got an Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce. It was incorporated officially. So, but while the missions may have changed along the way, the basic need was the same, and the function of the chamber was basically to serve people, and it depended on the membership and volunteers to do the job. Nobody but the staff, and John might even dispute this, got paid, but most of it was volunteer work, and somehow that tradition has really blossomed. I mean, we're so fortunate with the organization we have today, and Karen, we're going to introduce you here in a few minutes, but you're walking into a fantastic organization with terrific reputation. We are, and I know this from the research I did talking to other people and during the search process, that we're a premier Chamber of Commerce in the state of North Carolina, and for our size, we are a premier Chamber of Commerce nationally. So we got a lot to be proud of, and it comes from the work that you all do, your involvement, and how active we are, and it's tremendous the number of hours that are put in, aren't it? And the energy and the enthusiasm, and it really shows. And so for that, I thank you. One simple message that I'd like for you all to take along, and I know we've set a high standard here for Karen, but I know that you will support her and help her take this chamber even up to another notch on the ladder. But I want to encourage you all to bring new blood into the chamber. As you go back to your businesses, your organizations, look around and see in your organization who's an up-and-coming leader, who's somebody that who you could groom to become a future director or possibly even president, of the chamber down the road, or chairman, I should say. And look at that and think about it, because that's our lifeblood out there. Those young folks coming up right now that probably the most effective thing you can do as far as training is to getting them involved in Chamber of Commerce. I mean, it beats an MBA, folks. I mean, getting your hands on, and that is rewarding for you as a business person. It's rewarding for that individual, but it brings leaps and bounds to our community, and we need that energy. So I'm challenging you all to do that when you leave. When you go home and go back to your business tomorrow, think about that. Who is it here that I could help groom to be a future leader of the Outer Banks? Because there's a lot, as I said, there's a lot of spaces on that plaque yet, right? So thank you so much. Like I said, I'm going to cut this short. I've been on the program much too long, but I do want to also second that. Robin, you've done a terrific job the last 2 years, and it wasn't easy, and we really owe you a big gratitude. And I know you're going to get recognized yet, but I wanted to take that opportunity. Thank you so much for what you've done. And with that, I'm being asked to introduce our new chamber president, and we went through a long search process with a search firm. Did it very methodically, had over 80 applicants, and we knew we weren't going to find a replacement for John Bone. Okay, John Bone's a unique person, his experience, his savvy, political savvy, and we knew we weren't going to replace John, but we really thought long and hard about, okay, what do we want to do? What kind of person do we want to bring in to meet our needs and help us get to our goals and objectives, our mission, our vision for the future. And at the end of the day, Karen Brown met that bill the best, and we had some super applicants. It came down to 3 people that we brought in for final interviews. Any one of them could have done the job, but Karen was the most effective in communicating to us. Her enthusiasm, her passion for chamber work came through very strongly, and she brings with us, with her 10 years of experience in chamber leadership and membership retention programs, economic development, including business retention, and that's an area that we want to really concentrate. I know Allie, as she takes the mantle, is going to be working on that part of our program, and so we'd like to again welcome Karen, who and her husband, Jim. Is he here tonight? He's right there. Yeah, right. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I looked right at him a little while ago. And they are NASCAR enthusiasts, so they're going to be probably doing a lot of traveling around here. But Karen's also a beach enthusiast. She came from a beach community in New Jersey. So I heard the first thing she did when she came here, moved here a couple weeks ago, she went out to the beach, right? And you walk the beach. So that's terrific. That's who we are, and we all look forward to working with you and building a even better Chamber of Commerce and a better Outer Banks community. Karen, welcome.
intention is so not me, but thanks, Ralph. I appreciate the kind words, and thanks to all of you. I'm really happy and honored to have been selected to serve as your new president. The Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce is certainly a strong organization with a great history. I look forward to continuing the legacy that was established by John and the staff, the volunteers, and the past boards that you've had. Building on those past successes, I look forward to working with the members, the new board, the staff, the membership to enhance the performance of the organization and take it to the next level. And really and truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the opportunity to be here. This is truly a dream come true to come back to the coast and be near the beach. So I really do appreciate the opportunity. And now as we begin to do every October, with a change of the chair of the board of directors, Allie Bro, president of Sun Realty, has been on our board for over 3 years. Her dedication to working with our staff to launch our new website last year wasn't easy, but she devoted herself to the task and continues to monitor its success. Please join me in welcoming our new chair for 2012-2013, Allie Bro.
Thank you, Karen, and everybody in attendance. I'm delighted to be here. When most of us accept the role as chair, we accept a one-year term. Circumstances placed Robin Mann in a leadership role to serve as our chair for almost 2 years. Robin could have chosen to step down early, but instead she stepped up and fulfilled the commitment that was placed before her. She served the long term as chair, going above and beyond, and she did it all with grace, strong leadership, and a commitment to success. On behalf of the board, the staff, the chamber members, and the community, I sincerely thank her for her commitment. This was a historic year for the chamber. We grew as an organization despite challenges and changes. We are now stronger because of your dedication to our organization. Robin, please accept this gavel and plaque, which is over there. Please accept this gavel plaque we present to you not for 1 but 2 years of service to our organization. We so appreciate your commitment to this organization and ask that you also not walk away but continue to help us transition to the next level and help me transition to the next level. Your leadership, patience, guidance, and support have been key to our success over the past 2 years. Thank you, and let's all show a warm round of applause for Robin. Hold on. Oh, yes. And this is really the part I was really looking forward to, because Robin is wonderful and also likes to, Robin likes to know what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on right now. I really like this part. This is the first time Robin has not controlled every detail. And I dig it. One more special presentation. Volunteers are the key to our success. Robin, you have gone above and beyond to make the past 2 years successful. You've led the board and stepped in to assist with office operations and leading the staff during the CEO transition. You lead with conviction, passion, and a drive to achieve and innovate, whether around your neck or in a keepsake drawer. May this Catherine Holton Silver Bonsai Original, a pendant of the Chamber Key and with an engraved message on the back, serve as a reminder of how much we, as board members, staff, and membership, appreciate your dedication, drive, and devotion over the past 2 years. Nobody cares more about the Chamber than this woman, trust me.
Wow. Thank you, Allie. And thank you to all of you. And it's funny, this is beautiful. Thank you. I didn't know, I didn't control this.
It's good.
Yeah, I've been told I'm an overachiever and a controller.
It's all good.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. I'm almost speechless. I told someone the other day that this was kind of a bittersweet moment for me because I have thoroughly enjoyed this job. I take it very seriously. And my husband will be very glad that I will start taking our business very seriously. I have had the privilege this year to work with an outstanding team, an outstanding group of board of directors. I've learned and I've just really have enjoyed working with all of them. Ralph, I was having a conversation with him the other day, and he was sharing with me how much he has enjoyed working with me. But you know, Ralph, it's you and it's the team that has made this so much fun for me and so much enjoyable for me. And I want to tell you that it has truly been an honor to represent all of you as your chair. And I just have deeply appreciate all of the time that all of the directors have given to the chamber and continue to give to the chamber. And I'm not going anywhere. Although I think, Ralph, you have been on the chamber board for 10 years. I don't know that I want to ever do that. I'm really thankful that I've had this opportunity to get to know so many people over the last couple of years and work closely with all of you. We have a devoted staff, and we've accomplished so many things together, and I've been very honored to be a part of all of it. But as we move forward, I'm totally convinced that we have the right leadership in place in order to advance our chamber's vision and mission. So ladies and gentlemen, please take this time to give yourself the applause for all that you do for the Outer Banks and for the chamber tonight.
All right, thank you, Robin. Let me find my notes in this pile. Okay. And once again, I thank Robin because personally and professionally, she's been a great mentor, and I look forward to that in the future. The Outer Banks Chamber of Commerce is a voice for our business community. We are an organization committed to and recognized for its leadership and advocacy for local businesses. Your success is our success. Know that the Chamber is here to represent your needs and be your voice. It's a privilege to serve as your chair for the Chamber Board of Directors. Serving on the board has been a wonderful and rewarding opportunity. Angie, Cindy, and Sarah are truly dedicated to the Chamber and to you, our members. Karen has hit the ground full stride. She's enthusiastic, intelligent, and devoted to creating new successes for us all. And now I'm honored to introduce your Board of Director members and officers for the upcoming year. This really is a great group. The people I've served with so far have been incredible, and I'm really, really excited about the people who are coming on for this year. They're smart leaders who truly care about the Outer Banks business community, and they each bring expertise, experience, and valuable insight to their positions. That's why they were chosen, and that's why they stepped up to serve. So here we go. Your Board of Directors Executive Committee. We've got Chair-elect Mike Pringle from Coldwell Banker Seaside Realty. Stand up so everybody can see who you are. Our treasurer is Jeff Dowdy from Dowdy and Osborne CPAs. For Community Affairs, Larry Barker with Southern Insurance. Legislative, Malin White. I know I saw him in the crowd. Yay, Malin, thank you. Organizational Affairs, Mike Fulton from the Beachbrook. And yes, and Ambassador Great. Promotional Affairs, Monica McCowan from CenturyLink. Economic Affairs, Bob Hill from the Wanchee Seafood Industrial Park. We've got some returning board members, Barb Connery from Outer Banks Blue Realty. Tom Haddon from Haddon Homes. Yay, Tom. Dr. Jimmy Woodson from Woodson Dentistry. Paul Manning from the Front Porch Cafe. He's still here. We've got Bambos Charlambos from Captain George's Seafood Restaurant. Ben Gallup from Hornthal Valley, Ellison Malin. And we've got some really exciting new board members joining us this year. We've got Ann Wood from Surfer Salem Realty. She's also going to head our website committee this year. We've got Jeremy Miller from the Hilton Garden Inn. Jeremy, you're here. Yay, Jeremy. and Matt Byrne from East Carolina Bank. Again, this is really an impressive group of leaders, and I thank them for agreeing to give of their time and serve in the upcoming year. And if y'all are interested in serving on a committee, please give somebody a shout. We'd love to have you. We're always looking for new volunteers, new insight, experience, ideas, and new blood who share a passion for the chamber mission. This concludes our program. Once again, thank you all for celebrating with us tonight. If you're considering serving, contact anybody on the chamber board, Karen, Angie, Sarah, me. Have a great night. Drive safely. Enjoy the debate.